The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of spoilers, so get ready, nerds, because we're talking Loki, Episode 3. Welcome and thank you for joining us today on the Salty Nerd Podcast. Today we're talking about Loki, Episode 3, and as always, I'm joined by my fantastic panel of nerds, starting with the bearded barbarian.
The bearded barbarian. I am not a bard.
You bard. You Weasley bard,
I never played a bard in my Dungeons & Dragons campaign.
Welcome, sir. How you doing?
Bards were kind of gay. Okay, so...
Also joined by Juju.
I'll be a bard.
None of my friends wanted to play bards. It's like, no. I'm going to run around my minstrel.
With your lute.
Cast spells with my guitar.
No wonder you don't like Loki.
I'm getting the stink eye over here.
I love it.
Man.
Also joined by Matthew Kadish, producer of the show.
So this is season 1, episode 3, entitled Lamentus, and I get the feeling that you two did not care for this episode.
I don't think any of them did.
I don't think these motherfuckers have room for filler episodes in a 6-episode show.
Was it filler, though?
I felt like it was filler.
I feel like it was set up.
Maybe. Yeah, I think you might be giving them too much credit with the rest of their Marvel shows.
I just didn't care.
Well, you know what's interesting is that in a overarching kind of plot formula, the midpoint, which is episode 3, because we get six episodes, is what's called the reversal, where basically like the hero's at their lowest point and something happens that, kind of ups the ante in terms of their crisis. And this episode kind of fits perfectly into that structure. So.
I really hate that we're only getting 6 episodes in an entire season now. Like, what kind of cheap
It's almost like a
budget?
mini series.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Well, they're looking
this
at
is
it,
the Loki.
They're looking at it as more of a 6-hour movie than a TV show.
I wish we were only getting 4 episodes.
All right, so this
I wish
episode.
You'd shut the fuck up while I'm in mid-sentence.
Wow.
I'm just saying,
like,
I miss the days where we would get like a season of something that was like 12, 20 episodes.
Yeah.
Like a full, rich season where you had highs and lows and you had filler episodes. Sure, give it to me. But if you have 6 episodes in a season, like, get to the chase.
Mm-hmm. We're going to take a break before we dive into this spoiler episode. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you'd like to support the podcast, go to saltynerdclub.com. Become a Patreon. There you can help us to make better content just for you and your enjoyment. And you can also get exclusive access to our blooper reels and all kinds of really fun stuff, behind-the-scenes photos, and you get to chat with the hosts. And you get to pick movies once in a while for us. We do a little Patreon Pick the Movie Week. So we shout out to all of our Patreons and let them decide what we're going to watch for the main SMP Weekly. So saltynerdclub.com. Help us build a better podcast for you. All right, so in this episode, we get to see Loki jump through the portal, chasing variant Loki, Sylvie, into this new world, which is apparently another apocalypse.
Yes, it takes place on a planet called Lamentus 1. And it's, how they set up that Lady Loki, Sylvie, is hiding in these pre-apocalyptic events because she can do anything there and it doesn't alert the Time Variance Authority. And so she had programmed into this like little time travel device a bunch of pre-apocalypse places that she could go hide out. And Loki, when he gets the device, he accidentally chooses Lamentus 1, and it's an event where a moon is crashing into a planet. And
That'd be brutal.
Yeah, and she basically says like, you picked the worst possible apocalyptic event to send us to.
To be fair, he didn't really have time to like scroll through and pick a better one.
You probably didn't even know what Lamentus 1 was.
He obviously didn't because she had to explain it to him.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily have a problem with the setup of this episode. It just seemed to me, it just kind of dragged. Like there was a lot of downtime and there was a lot of explanation, but we didn't get to know Sylvie.
Actually,
Loki,
I thought we did.
I didn't feel like we got to know enough.
I wanted more.
Like we got to know, like, oh, I'm a variant Loki, and I'm here to destroy the world.
Well,
we
have
already
3 more episodes to get to know her.
Yeah, but this was
a good introduction, I thought.
We got introduced to her as like we knew she was a variant Loki. We know her plan, right? And then what did we find out about her more than that in this episode? Anything?
Well, we found out that she didn't know her mother, and that she learned her powers herself. You know, she was self-taught in terms of the magic stuff. And we learned that she'd been hunted by the Time Variance Authority since she was a little kid. And also, she knows that all the time variant people who work for the TVA are also variants.
We learned that about the TVA, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings up a lot of questions because they all think they were created by
Yes.
the TVA, but they weren't. They're all stolen from Earth, apparently.
Shenanigans going on.
So, yeah, there's
Which
some...
makes me wonder, where did they get Miss Minutes from? What have they done to her?
You think she was a person who they turned into a computer program?
I was making a joke.
See,
Yeah,
not
but
all
that
of her
joke-
jokes are funny.
That joke might come true, though. Like, what if they do?
It's funny because it might be true.
They took Mr. DNA and made him
Do a clock?
All right. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about for this episode, and it is basically the title of this episode is Lamentus, or lamenting, or laments, which basically means like, you know, that you are kind of obsessing over bad stuff that's happened in the past.
Wait, what is the name of the place that he sent them to?
Lamentus 1.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I just assumed the episode was named after the place that they went to, but you think there's a
I think there's a
deeper
double meaning for
Okay.
that, yeah.
meaning? Okay.
yeah, definitely. So basically, we find out that Lady Loki isn't Lady Loki. She prefers to be called Sylvie. And Alex mentioned in a previous episode that there was some online debate that she might be the Enchantress character.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, in the comics, Sylvie Lushton is the Enchantress, or the new Enchantress anyway. And she was a character who was created by Lady Loki when he was in Lady Sif's body, as like a joke or a mischief type thing. And so the Sylvie Lushton character kind of joined the Young Avengers, and she was self-taught in her own magic. But what was interesting is that in the comic books, at least, Sylvie Lushton as the Enchantress teamed up with and is possibly a love interest with Wiccan, which is the Scarlet Witch's son. And so this might be a setup for a Young Avengers type thing with
Interesting.
Sylvie
That gives me
and
tingles.
yeah, because we know that Wanda is a Nexus being that has to do with time travel and multiverse of madness with Doctor Strange, and so
And we know her kids are still alive because she heard them at the end of
Yeah.
WandaVision.
and so they could be setting up these characters like, you know, Wanda's kids and Sylvie and you know, people like that to be part of the new Avengers or the Young Avengers or something that has to do with, you know, I mean, like Miss Marvel and
Yeah.
like all this other stuff. So
Yep. I think that's probably definitely the direction they're going eventually. I don't know how long it's going to take before we see a new Avengers movie or anything, but they're definitely introducing these characters now for later use. I wonder though, because we talked about like originally we all thought, oh, this is a Loki variant. Like it's just a different version of Loki, which turned out to be, is it not true? She's not actually a variant of Loki?
I say it's true because I don't think that they have enough time to develop that this is what this is for people who have never read the source material, which
Okay.
I'm one of those people. I have never read this. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
When you start talking about it, I go like this. Trying to like connect it in my head and keep up with you. So like they don't have time to do that with this one main character in this show. There's only 3 episodes left. So
Yeah.
I'm going on this is another Loki. This is a
Another
Loki
version.
variant.
But
It's just
she
the
calls
simplest-
herself.
Yeah, it's the simplest explanation.
Okay.
I don't think it is.
You don't think it's him?
No, I think it's her own character.
Yeah. I hope it is. I don't want it to be a Loki variant because I think if they were going to do a Loki variant, I would have wanted them to go more Lady Loki with like the black hair. It looks almost like a female version of Tom Hiddleston. Like this blonde chick doesn't look anything like Loki. I feel like they're not the same. They're not even variants of each other. They're completely
if you
separate.
notice throughout this episode, she slowly sheds the Loki garments, and so like by the time we reach the end, she almost looks like a different character.
Yeah.
which
I did
thought
not
was
notice
I didn't notice.
Okay.
Did she take the crown off?
Yeah, she took the crown
Oh,
off.
good,
She-
okay.
Oh yeah, she was fighting with it at one point, and then in the dream flash sequence thing, she's just wearing totally normal stuff. I almost didn't realize that it was the same character.
Mm, okay.
Yeah. So the episode starts off with her, like she's interrogating the Jessica
Jessica Hyde character.
Hyde character at the beginning, and basically it's a memory that that character had from when she was like a normal human on Earth, and she liked to go out drinking and stuff like that. And
My girl.
yeah, and Sylvie uses that to try to interrogate her to find out information about the timekeepers, and she explains this to Loki later in the episode and reveals that all the people who work for the TVA used to be variants, and that was like a big revelation for Loki. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know if I really.
Puts a cool twist on it.
Yeah,
I
it puts a
think
cool.
it's
It makes the
pretty
TVA.
interesting. Yeah.
It turns the TVA into the villains.
Yes.
Which is what we were. I think a lot of people were kind of speculating in the first place.
Yeah,
are they
and it
villains,
makes
though?
us. It makes us kind of. I mean, for me, it's making me kind of root for whatever this plan of chaos is to undermine the TVA, because the TVA is just like taking
Just like
normal people
turning them
and
into slaves.
yeah,
and
taking their
brainwashing them.
memories away and
Yeah.
making them think that they were always built to be working for the TVA. Like they're
rather,
the bad guys.
rather than killing them, though, they're bringing them in and putting them to use.
But then
to
they're
help
killing.
protect the
They're like
timekeepers.
zapping other people.
Kill people willy nilly.
Yeah.
They
Remember that-
have no respect for life.
Yeah, but I mean, like they are like saving the ones that they bring into the fold. And it also makes you wonder, is Mobius one of these? Because I know in the comics, Mobius is basically like a clone of a clone of a, like they just have like 1,000 different Mobiuses working at the TVA.
Huh.
I don't know if they're going to go that way in the show, but it makes you wonder, like, you know, is he also a variant?
I think
How
he
does that
is a
work?
variant, and I think the
He
reason why
has
he
gotta
likes
be.
jet skis so much is because he used to be a dude who had a jet ski.
He was a jet skier.
Yeah.
Oh, that's character development.
Wow.
Wow.
He's not saying that in this show.
No, I know. I saw that. I thought that was
Not
hilarious.
saying
Good for
that.
him. Fucking A, dude. Own it. No,
Wow.
I feel very strongly about Owen Wilson. You stick to your guns, buddy. Don't say wow.
Wow.
Ever again.
I feel strong about him too, Alex.
Wow.
Wow.
All right.
You got to get the
Wow.
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 You gotta tighten your lips up. Wow.
Wow.
That's how you do it. From what I've seen on YouTube of other people doing better impressions.
Wow.
Wow.
So the show. So we get on the train. When did they get to the train? They worked their way onto this like train thing. That was the only like
This is where I start having problems.
I kind
I'm
of
sure
checked
the-
out. I kind of checked out in the like first part of this movie or the first part of the show, and then when they got on the train, they started having conversations, and Loki was singing in like Nordic. I was like, oh, okay, I'm back in.
I have issues with all of this.
Oh boy, let's get to it.
Okay.
What kind of issues you got?
So Loki has this power of illusion.
Yeah,
He couldn't illusion up some tickets.
he probably could have.
Too
Okay,
easy.
that's my first point.
Well, I argue that he doesn't know what the tickets look like.
He couldn't go like this. Huh, what's your ticket look like? Cool. She couldn't enchant someone to just give them their tickets. Like there was a lot simpler stuff in order to get onto the train that could have happened. Then once they're on the train, he's still in his like I work here garb.
His
And-
Cobra Commander uniform.
Yeah, and like as people who have ever worked in customer service before, like if you're sitting in a booth with somebody in a VIP booth on a train, like you are gonna get noticed and somebody's gonna come up to you and be like, hey, you shouldn't be here, get back to work. He's just sitting in this booth chit-chatting this lady on a train. It's the end of the world. Get back to work. Like, what are you doing? And they're just like sitting here and like I turned to Kadish and I was like, did they like put some kind of ward over them so no one can see them having this conversation on this train? Because this is not making sense to me.
Nobody was paying attention to him.
Yeah.
Kind of took you out of it.
Yeah, because I was like, what's going on here? Well, like,
They had to have that.
you're
super important
pretending to
conversation.
work
We'll get
there,
there.
and now all of a sudden you're just chilling, thinking nobody's going to notice. If you
Yeah.
thought nobody was going to notice, then why did you bother with the uniform? It didn't make sense to
or
me.
at least change your uniform once you're on
yeah,
the train.
yeah. Make
Go.
yourselves look like we belong
well,
here.
Am I crazy in thinking that they all look like Cobra Commander? In those
Oh no,
uniforms?
you're spot on.
Do you think they did that on purpose, or is it just a coincidence?
Well, maybe they're filming the Cobra movie in the
Same
next
lot.
lot. Same
Yeah.
lot over, so they just.
That's not a Disney movie, though, is it?
No.
No. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, the conversation on the train.
Yes.
Let's
Okay,
get into that.
so-
Let's get your opinions on this.
Basically,
Yay, Disney.
they revealed that Loki is either bisexual or more likely pansexual.
He's
Hedonistic, yeah. But this sent all the internet people into an uproar. So what do you guys
I
think
just don't
about
think
this?
it's a big deal. And I think just people are making a big deal out of it. And this story's not making a big deal out of it. So let's not.
I agree with you to a point. I think as far as the character goes, like him saying like, she goes like, so who do you have in
Like
back
princess or
home,
prince.
or princess or prince or whatever? And he's like, well, probably the same as you, maybe a
He's-
little bit of
yeah,
both.
He says
It was
bit of
a-
both, probably the same
It
as
was
you.
a very sly comment. It was very undertone, like whatever,
Nonchalant.
nonchalant. I get that. As far as the character in the show, let's put a wall there, separate the art from the artist. The art itself, that freaking Loki banged a horse and had a freaking 6-legged horse son or daughter or whatever, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't remember. And then he gifted that horse to his dad, and that's the horse that his dad rides around. Like, it's freaking weird, dude. It's like Norse mythology shit. I don't give a crap what Loki bangs in different forms and different universes. Doesn't bother me a bit. What kind of irritated me a little bit is in the real world, come into the Twitterverse, and the writer producer of the show made a comment on Twitter specifically about this moment after the show came
It
out.
was the director.
Was the director?
Yeah.
Oh, I love this moment because we wrote this specifically to put ourselves into the thing. And I'm like,
Well, that's what
Can
I'm
we
saying. I
just-
think that the people are making a bigger deal out of it than the character is.
yeah, it's just
it
like,
doesn't need to be in there.
it doesn't need to be in there. If it is in there just by like a wink and a nod to the Norse mythology thing, fine. But the fact that this
Mm-hmm. It's-
person was like
it's
straight
pan-
out and came, hey, I did this because I felt like I wanted to see myself in Loki. Like, dude,
It's
just come.
straight
I
up
just-
pandering and it's virtue signaling and
I disagree.
Yeah,
I
took me
feel
completely
like
out.
it completely is like a nonchalant thing that is totally in line with his character. And outside of this show, everyone else is making a big deal out of it. And I
But
refuse
it's
to let
but
that
it's in
ruin
everything
this
that
for
Disney
me.
does now.
This is true.
It's in
but
every fucking thing that Disney does now.
I disagree when it comes to this show because it did seem like it was more of a character development type thing where he's like, yeah, I'm hedonistic, so of course I'll have done this. They didn't really focus on it. It wasn't preachy.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like they mentioned it in passing and they didn't like linger on it. It wasn't trying to push any agenda, it seems, although you could argue that just the fact that it was included is pushing some type of agenda.
I
And you
get- I
could
get
also
tired of it.
argue that not being nonchalant about it is pushing that, oh, he has to be straight. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, like I just found it believable that he would
Totally.
like do
Yeah.
that stuff, and so like it didn't even like it registered with me, but I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, if it was just the show, I'd be like, yeah, okay,
For me,
that
it
makes
is
sense.
just the show.
But
And it totally makes sense. And I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah, but because I'm plugged into the freaking Twitterverse, and the director
Well,
came
stop
out and
it.
straight
Stop
said,
letting things take your joy.
no, but this is why I put this in the movie or in the show. Like,
Yeah.
if they wouldn't have said anything,
They completely admitted it. That's why it's
yeah,
there.
that's the reason why it's there. It's
That's
not because
the
of
only-
Norse
it's the only
mythology.
reason.
I feel
It's
like
not
that's
because
probably
of.
a PR thing.
Well, that's even worse. Then.
it's the same shit as putting all the little
Yeah.
tiny little snippets in
If-
Star Wars movies.
if that's-
and it's nonsense.
If
And
that's how the director felt, and she just didn't publicly say this is why I put it in there, it would have been like, okay, that's just character development for a weird Loki mythology thing. But they have to push themselves in front of everybody and say, this is why we did it. Ha ha, here we
yeah,
are.
It's just
but-
it's irritating. That's what irritated me more.
What we're talking about is the show.
Yeah, the
though.
show.
And does it make sense in the show?
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I think one of the reasons that I didn't like this episode as much as the other two is that Owen Wilson is not in it.
Yeah.
and the fact that so like it is the Loki and Sylvie hour,
Mhm.
and the whole plot of this episode is basically them having to learn to work together as they're trying to get out of this apocalypse because the little time variance
Has low
transporter
batteries.
thing, yeah,
But the
battery died.
chemistry between Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson is just so great.
Much more fun.
That I was so missing it. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to like kind of get to what was going on in this. Like I was still interested. It's my least favorite episode so far, but like I miss the buddy cop
Yeah.
stuff.
Because their chemistry between Sylvie and Loki is not the same.
So
Yeah,
so-
and I feel like maybe they're trying to push some kind of like, oh, we're both hedonistic. Oh, let's flirt our way out.
Do you think Loki's
And
going to bang variant Loki?
I don't, but I think they're going to try and like push that. I'm going to flirt with you and make you think this, and I'm going to flirt with you and make you think that, and it's just it's weird and it, doesn't work as well as the chemistry between the buddy cop
Okay.
thing did
So
for me.
I have a question for you guys.
What's
So
up?
in this episode, when Loki and Sylvie get tossed off the train, Loki pulls out the time jumper little control thing, and it's broken.
That's an illusion.
And so I want to ask you, do you think that it's actually broken, or was that another trick Loki was pulling?
So this brings up the whole question of, is this entire episode an illusion? And who is playing the illusion on who? Do you think, I don't know. I don't have enough information. I think there's a couple of things that kind of point to Loki being in control, because when there's a moment that kind of like really stuck out to me as being super obvious, something funky's going on, is when that building came down and he just like stopped it and pushed it back.
Yeah, it made me wonder what his powers are, because I don't.
Yeah.
We've never seen him do that before.
Yeah.
So
same.
if he's in control of the illusion and he's able to manipulate things, that would make more sense than introducing a brand new power.
But there was also that moment where Sylvie tries to put him under mind control, and he's like, "What are you doing? My mind's too strong." And it's like, was that the moment where it switched to a fantasy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which that makes this episode more interesting than like on face value it is.
Yeah, that might be true.
But is this another instance of us WandaVisioning?
Yes,
it?
I think it might be.
I don't think there are Inception levels to this episode.
I don't either.
I think it's very straightforward.
6 episodes, and coming off of Captain America and Winter Soldier, like
We always fed
I
more.
want to keep my expectations realistic.
Yeah, we have to.
I don't have any expectations
You
anymore.
have none. You're just like, you're just done with these Disney shows.
Did you? I can't remember. Did you like the first 2 episodes, or you were just kind of like,
they kept me interested.
Okay.
I have
Are you-
I
are you
have zero interest now.
Okay.
Really?
None.
Too much.
If we weren't reviewing it for this, I wouldn't. I'd be done. I wouldn't even bother.
Because of this episode? Because it was slow?
Mostly. I'm just
Done.
Disney throws their bullshit at me, and I'm like, fuck you.
Unplugged, huh?
Yeah.
I get you.
It doesn't take much anymore.
I get it.
He's triggered.
He's like, I'm out.
I do have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
And I don't know if this. I don't know if this is a valid question or not. But like her, what is it called? Crown.
The crown?
Crown?
Yeah, the horns, yeah.
Yeah. So, do we know why she's missing one? Is that?
It's a comic book reference.
Is it a comic book thing?
Yeah, in the comic
Okay.
book, Lady Loki had one broken horn.
Okay.
So I think they're just referencing. I don't think it has any deeper meaning. I think
Okay.
they're just like winking a nod to the Loki stuff.
Okay.
It's in there for people like you to obsess over.
Like seriously, I'm obsessing over it. I'm like, why
is
aren't
it
they
broken?
telling me why?
Yeah. Go back and read the comics, Jude.
I mean, I guess.
No,
I have
just
fucking
Google it.
time for that.
So one of the really interesting things about this episode is the production value. Like I feel like out of all the episodes we've seen so far, this one is like on a movie level in terms of like the sets,
Yeah.
costumes.
Yeah, this train looks sick.
I'm wondering because like this entire episode is almost all on an alien planet. I'm wondering if they used the volume from like the Mandalorian to
maybe.
do a lot of this stuff.
Maybe.
But one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about was the ending where they're basically trying to get on the Ark before it takes off, and they have to like fight their way through the city, and it's all done in one off, which is basically one long take. Now there are hidden cuts in there, but I don't know if you guys noticed that from the moment they show up at the city, it's all like done in like one long take.
I didn't notice that.
And what you might think of that.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I fell asleep twice during this episode.
Really?
I had to watch
Yeah.
it 3 times because I was just like,
This thing was.
it was a little bit of a snooze fest, and I wasn't as invested as I thought I would be. Because last episode when they left off and Loki followed her into the portal, I was like, oh shit, yeah, this is gonna be cool. Like everything blew up. There's multiple time things. Everything's going crazy. And then
Yeah, like they ended on such a high on the second one, and then they did the Joss Whedon thing where they just dropped it and like went in a different direction.
So that's maybe that's why I'm not liking this episode very much, because it felt like, if you guys remember, I think with the same thing happened with Falcon and Winter Soldier. One of the episodes where Captain, or the fake Cap Walker, so what is his name? John Walker?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kills the guy, and he's got the blood on Cap's shield. And I was like, oh shit, the next episode's gonna be crazy. And then
No,
they
it
just
wasn't.
dropped it into first gear, and they were going real slow for a real long time. I felt like that was the same thing that happened here. Like everything was going crazy. The next episode's gonna freaking take off running, and then they just dropped it into a lower gear, and they had like, let's explain everything.
But if you look at the very last scene of this episode where they're like, they're outside, then they move to the indoors, and then they go back outside, and buildings are falling on them and stuff like that, and it's all done in like one long continuous take. They basically Scorsese'd it. like when I was watching that, I was like, oh, this is really impressive. And it was like movie quality scale of like digital effects and all types of like, camera trickery. And I was very impressed by the ending.
I agree with you, but also story-wise, I was kind of checked out.
Yeah. I mean, like if you set the story aside and you just look at like the technical aspect, because like when I watch a movie, I'm watching it as a filmmaker. And the minute that I realized what they were doing, I was like fascinated by it.
Yeah, when I watch it, I'm watching it as like a filmmaker's girlfriend.
I didn't notice that it was one take. I might have to go back and check that out again.
I'm just watching it as some dude.
Some dude who kind of likes comics.
Yeah, I guess.
God, I love you.
So the episode ends with the arc
exploding, right?
Exploding because Loki and Sylvie were trying to get there because they thought they could maybe change history and take off with the arc and save themselves. But this episode really ends on kind of a downer where basically they failed and now they're all going to die. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what do you do now?
Well, yeah. And I thought that like their plan was very interesting because like if we're going with the whole, like the what is it called? Pen pad or something is busted. And now what are we going to do? Well, we have to get off of this moon. So we have to fight our way to the Ark. And then we have to make sure that the Ark gets off, which is not part of the original plan, which would cause more chaos. I was like, yeah, I'm on board because that's more chaos. That's going to make things super hooey. And that's going to make another like time variant. Yeah. And like, I was like, yeah, make more chaos. Yeah, let's do it. And then they just like fought a long time and then Nothing happened. And now I'm like, oh, how much of this was an illusion?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he just doesn't like call Heimdall to come see him and use the Rainbow Bridge.
Heimdall's dead. He died in Endgame. Or does this take place before Endgame?
I don't know when this takes place. That's the thing.
Well, Lamentus 1, they say 2077.
Oh, Heimdall died in 2023.
Yeah, but like, if you're in the TVA, what is time? When is time?
Here's what's if the next episode, this is what's gonna make or break it for me. If the next episode comes in and they're like, this was all a deep illusion and shit was, mind controlled by Sylvie or whatever, I'm like, okay.
Or maybe this was all an illusion created by the TVA.
No, that's my next thing. If they go the Sylvie mind trick route, I'd be okay with it. If they come in and everything happens exactly the way we see it in the show, and the TVA just shows up and rescues them as like a Deus Ex Machina at the last minute. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm like, come on, guys. So like, that's what I'm worried about because we've always been speculating. Oh, WandaVision is this and WandaVision's that, and then our expectations are up here.
And that's the joy of watching a show like this when like the fans like us can sit and be like, what if they're gonna do this?
Yeah.
What if they're really doing this?
But we've been let down before.
And it's like that's just like all part of watching a show that's like seems to be so well written like this. It's like such a joy to like speculate. Yeah.
I'm in. So I hope they pull it off.
Yeah.
But this episode,
I hope that they don't dash my dreams.
Yeah, me too. This episode was super, I don't know. I didn't like it. I liked it on a technical level. Kadish is right. It was very pretty episode.
Sure.
But on a character level, I thought it was a bit slow. I didn't get enough out of Sylvie. I got a couple things, a little sprinkle of nuggets here and there, but for an episode that was this long with this little happened, like really what happened? Yeah. They went from point A to point B. They tried to get to someplace and then it didn't end up working.
And ironically, this is the shortest episode we've gotten so far.
Yeah, and I'm like, I just, the conversation could have been deeper. Like, we could have known more about Sylvie.
I want to know more about Sylvie, but I'm trying to keep it in perspective that we are only getting 6 episodes. And what I really love is the dynamic between Loki and Owen Wilson. So I'm trying to keep my expectations low and my realistic.
Yeah, I hope they pull it off. I really hope they stick to landing, but I don't know. We'll see.
Final
thoughts, Vader. You unplugged as soon as they had that conversation. Just done. Don't want to deal with it.
I'm glad you guys like it. Enough to talk about it.
I'm not mad at you for feeling the way you feel. There's plenty of people out there who are on the same page as you. I get it.
I'm over.
That's your end point, huh? You're done.
I'll watch it, but. They better make it better.
I get that a lot of agendas are being pushed in the media right now. But for me, like, I know that my perspective is not the same as a lot of people. A lot of people think that it's black and white. But for me, I think that there is a sliding scale of how you view sexuality, and for me was not a big deal at all. And I think that the media and people like us who are talking about it are making it a much bigger deal than it is, and I don't want to be a part of making it a bigger deal.
I gotcha. I think my theory on this, and this goes with a lot of cultural things that happen, is the nerve is rubbed raw at this point. From everything that's been happening in the last couple of years, that nerve that people have has been rubbed so raw that when something relatively small like this happens, a lot of people are like, nope, done.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand where you're coming from. I don't agree with you. I think it was whatever. I wish that director wouldn't have said anything and just would have let it be its own thing and kept that to her own personal private thoughts. Fine. But it is what it is.
It's okay, man.
Kadish, you have any final thoughts about this episode?
Yeah, like I'm still really liking the series. This is definitely the weakest episode so far, but in terms of like bad Marvel TV episodes that we've gotten, this is better than most.
I agree.
And I know that another kind of argument is that, you know, this was down like 100,000 views compared to like the previous 2 episodes. And a lot of people are saying that people are losing interest in Loki. But at the same time, you know, this is an on-demand streaming show. And so like you can't look at premiere ratings and be like, oh, that's the metric that's important.
Episode 4 fall off will be the indicator.
It doesn't even matter for fall off, because what it ultimately matters is how many people watch it when they can. Because like, you know, people got day jobs. It's coming out on a Wednesday, so they might wait till the weekend to watch it or something like that. But the real metric for streaming services is really signups and retention.
Yeah.
And so like how many people are staying subscribed to Disney Plus because of Loki, and that's kind of more a better metric than like premiere day views or something like that.
For me, the metric is like how many of my friends try to spoil it for me before I can watch it on like Thursday.
Yeah.
So
But you know, I don't feel like it's like Mandalorian. I can't touch my phone until I watch the episode.
Yeah.
I can't. It'll be ruined. The instant I turn my phone on,
Mandalorian spoilers.
Mandalorian,
Yeah.
just
Same
shit
with
all
like,
over.
when Game of Thrones was on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With these shows, with any of these Disney shows, I don't get that. I can turn my phone on and I can be on my phone for a half hour, and I don't see shit unless I go look for it.
Yeah.
So that to me is telling
For where the
see
fandom
what
is.
you're
for where
saying.
the fandom is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's not there.
But again,
It's not there as far as to this compared to like the Mandalorian
as
stuff.
screwed up as Star Wars has been, Star Wars is still up here, I feel like, and Marvel is still a couple
Yeah.
notches
I
lower.
think you're spot on.
So I think that's where that difference is.
Yeah.
The Star Wars fandom is.
You and I travel in the same circles,
Yeah.
my friend.
Yeah.
So
Oh, but I get what you're saying though, because you can go through Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and you're not really going to
it's like
find a lot of spoilers
I
for the
can't
show.
allow myself to turn my phone on when the Mandalorian's on.
well,
Yeah.
Until I watch
this,
that
this is
episode.
another reason why I hate the week to week model is because when it comes to TV shows, I want to be able to judge the series as a whole.
Yeah.
And going week to week, you're kind of on this weird roller coaster where it's like, oh, this episode was really good, and then this episode was really bad,
Right.
and I hate the show. Oh, it did something to redeem itself. And this is why I like to binge a show and just look at it as like a comprehensive
Yeah.
thing.
I just want to eat a meal and tell you whether or not it was good.
I'll watch season 4 tonight at midnight,
Episode 4. Right?
or episode 4, and I might love this show again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Right now, it's down here. The first 2 episodes were kind of, and then I went down here. It's like, oh, Disney's being his bullshit again. But no, maybe they'll bring it back. You know, who knows? I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm out. I don't care about this show. They need to win me back.
Okay.
So
I have one final theory that I want to mention. I wish I would have mentioned it before, but I kind of forgot. Okay, so again, going back to when Loki was running through the town and it was all being destroyed, and he stopped that building and then like pushed it back. Do you think Loki nabbed an Infinity Stone from the TVA and took it back with him to the real world? Because
that'd be a great idea.
if he took one of the time stones or even the power stone or whatever, and he was holding it, that would give him outside of the TVA, it would reactivate, I guess. It would become
Would he have to go to
powerful again?
Would he have to go to that time variant that he snagged it from?
no, because he snagged it from the TVA. It was already out of the
but-
equation.
Yeah, they
But
just
what-
had
what-
them
what- what
sitting
is-
around in drawers.
Yeah.
Would a stone from Earth 23 work on a Earth 12?
I don't know.
I think if that were the case, they would have set it up. So like they would have shown him grabbing one of those stones.
Well, they did, remember?
Does he still have the Tesseract?
No, he gave that back, I think.
like they showed him grabbing the Tesseract, but he didn't like palm one of the like other stones. So like,
I mean, he has his own powers. anyway.
I feel like this show has proven that it's smart enough where they would have kind of set that up instead of just pulling it off. However, in this episode, I kept wondering, I was like, what are Loki's powers that he can do that? 'Cause he's never done that before.
Yeah, I even went back. I watched the first Thor movie this weekend to kind of get a reestablish where Loki was.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any powers. Like he's got the illusion thing where he can make copies of himself and he can change his appearance and he can, get daggers out of thin air. But
he can dry his clothes.
He can dry his clothes.
What about the blooping back and forth? Like what?
Blooping?
That's what I call it. He's like here and he goes bloop, and then he's over here.
Oh, I don't know. I guess that would be part of his illusion thing. I don't know. It's weird. Loki has some strange powers, and I'd like to see him get some cooler ones.
Are they just making shit up as they go?
I hope not.
Yeah,
It's probably
I
though.
don't want them to.
I don't know.
Change the
He stopped a
recipe.
building from falling. I've never seen anybody in Marvel do that except for Wanda.
That gave me pause, and that was like at that moment I was like, I need to rewatch this episode.
Well, Doctor Strange can do that, but he has to reverse time.
Yeah, it's a little bit more of a
But they
struggle for him.
reverse time.
Yeah, he's using the time stone, which is why I thought maybe Loki stole a time stone and was like,
Yeah, okay, I see that. Yeah,
that's just my brain going off in
Bloop.
Nerdville. Bloop. Yep. Perfect. All right, guys. That's our discussion for Loki, episode 3. Thanks for joining us. Tune in next week. We'll talk about episode 4, and then episode 5 will come out, and then we'll do episode 5. You know how this works. Vader, where can they tweet at you, sir, about Loki spoilers?
I don't know. You can throw me some shit at Matt Vader 74 on Twitter and Instagram, and
We get all the shit in the YouTube comments anyway, so it's
I
not a
know,
big deal.
it's kind of fun. It's like YouTube comments are fire, man.
Oh,
It's
man.
like, you guys fucking suck.
We love it.
Like when I go, thank you for the
Replace
clicks.
Vader with a balloon.
Hey man, thanks for watching. I hope you like the show. Tune in next week for part 4.
There you go.
Don't forget to like.
Jude,
That thumbs up.
Jude, where can they find you at? I'm sorry, I did it when you were drinking. My bad.
I feel like you're doing it now. You can find me at I am Juju. My hair is doing a weird thing. You can find me at I am Juju on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
All right.
Or you can check out my webpage at thevoiceofjude.com.
Ooh, she's got some books out, guys. Sexy books.
They're very sexy.
Wow.
Kadish, where can they find you at? It's the end of the day, bro.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com. Takes you to my Amazon page. And notice how I always know when Alex is coming to me, so I'm not in mid-drink.
It's true.
It's because you don't drink.
Do the same circle every time.
Thought he was still talking to me.
You used to mix it up to throw us off guard.
Other than that threw him off, and it would make the video weird.
Yeah, okay.
Hey guys, I am the Salty Nerd. You can catch me on Twitter at Salty _ nerd on Twitter.
Get your shit together.
Chat with us about Loki over there or in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, stay salty, my friends.
Wow.